Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So today's topic will be ransomware reality check before and after detonations. So how to build a resilient recovery strategy for the moment of impact. So nowadays we shouldn't assume that we should assume that ransomware sooner or later will successfully compromise to your system. It's just a matter of time, how fast you respond, and how fast you recover from those for those impact. So that's why we'll talk about today. So current landscape. So we will have so as I said. So we should assume that attack will be successful sooner or later, because we understand that uh, nothing's perfect, right? We cannot have a perfect solution to protect everything any moment, any seconds. Even you have a unpatched system, you have untrained user, careless users. It won't happen. So we should assume uh, attack or compromise will be happen sooner or later. And actually, this is the change, especially because of the most of the organization now using lots of SaaS applications or cloud vendors or hosting their payload in the cloud. So your infrastructure become much more complex compared with early stage that we only putting data in on-prem and having data on the server internally. Then we have a backup system, we have tape, wherever. Sometimes even not easy to backup because those are on the SaaS. With that, you may rely on your vendors somehow. So the goal is not just prevention, but we should able to find a way to guarantee we can recover in case we being hit by ransomware or hackers or cyber criminal or internal threats. Okay. So most of the attack, how it works is find some way to penetrate to your site, and then usually from full phishing mail or drive-by download. But email is always one of the way to do that. And also account takeover, uh, credential data breach, also a very common way that hackers can log into your system, steal your data, encrypt your files, remove your files. And after they get into your system, the number one thing they will try to neutralize your backup, because ransomware is still very active, but less active on the mass end user targeting. They're more on customized one by one targeting to business. They will make sure uh, you should have money to pay the ransom before they really spend their time to strike and talk to you to collect ransom. So first thing first is to after penetrate, they will remove your backup, destroy your backup, encrypt your backup. So then they can start to encrypt your files, and then at the end of the day, they can uh, collect ransom. So so the blind spot or the gap here is people not realize sometimes they didn't cover all of the important data, not all data, because it's nearly not possible to back up all the data because sometimes it's not in a budget and it's not worth to do that. But critical business related data should be backed up. But many people will have a misunderstanding uh, of those cloud mail, cloud drive, or many SaaS application. It seems very stable and it seems up all the time. Then the data will be safe. Definitely not. In most of the case, the SaaS application, the SLA or the responsibility for the SaaS vendor is stopped at the application, not covering your data. So they have to ensure the system is up and running, but then did not guarantee your data is being backed up and restored. Usually we will ask for additional charge to do a backup, but at the end of the day, if it is on the same platform, if it is done or not available, or even they also being compromised and encrypted, you may not retrieve your data. So this is a blind spot that you didn't get your data. And another thing is and retention problem, because somehow is the backup may be keep for like 90 days or ever. Some slow attack will last for quite a long time. So even your backup is working, but you have been taking some polluted data, and restoration become a nightmare because you didn't know when and which copy is correct. Just imagine you have millions of files and you have 90 copies. So it will be a thousands of millions of file possibility, either bad or worse or partly okay. That can be uh, a mission impossible to recover, even you have the backup. So the how fast you can restore is also a very important topic we should consider. And and as longer we need to wait the restoration, or how, longer the period of time it takes to restore, the more we will lose on financially because of the disrupt of the business operation. So there is some way that we can help to fight against those ransomware. Uh, some may say, okay, let's do some tape backup. But nowadays, yes, tape backup is still adopt in some of the business, maybe because of the previous investment, maybe because of the compliance requirement. Uh, yeah, and easier to do offsite somehow, but actually not. Now we are using cloud, right? But anyway, so we nowadays we have immutable backup, which is at top a one by once read many times technology. But also you need a delete proof, because if you just read only, but you can still delete the file, then it doesn't work. So immutable backup is talking about locking up those backup, not just protect it from overwriting, but also protect it from delete. So there's a few way to do the immutable backup, or there's a physical and logical air gap technology that we can adopt. So first thing is separate the backup traffic from the production traffic. It is very important. First of all, you can minimize the possibility of compromise and access to those backup data from the production environment. In case your penetration usually start from the production side or testing side and then spill over to the production side. And then, but if it's isolate from the production, it's a little bit more difficult to penetrate through those backup infrastructure. So in the physical design, we should separate the backup infrastructure with the production. But anyway, we have to back up the server, so we still have some connection there. And now then we can adopt some isolation recover isolation biological. So Storware have some isolation configuration that support pre and post configuration. In short, we can actually disable or turn off those data sharing services like SMB, NFS, or Mini IO or S3 compatible object storage that you can turn it off after you back up and turn it on again when you want to back up or recovery. So we support such kind of PM post command line, and we have some mechanism to look after those backup storage. So you can virtually offline the backup before and after uh, the backup is happened. So to ensure the backup is not just physically isolated from the production network, but you can logically turn it off and make it hidden from the network. So cyber criminal is much more difficult to find out or target your backup data because it is not live all the time. And also we have to take a look on the data blind spot. Some backup maybe only focus on the database, file server, but as long as we would like to have shortest downtime, some of the VM, some of the containers, some of the cloud payload, we should able to back it up. And Storware, which is one of the product we have mentioned today, is support. I think it's the most wide coverage on those hypervisor, no matter the commercial and open source, or which is a free hypervisor in the market. And also we cover those SaaS and cloud infrastructure, database, and object storage or distributed storage. And we also support auto discovery. So we can help you to automate, find out new incident and automatically put in the protection. Of course, you can have some rules to exclude, like for example, if the host name is start from POC, start from testing, we can ignore and do not put in the backup list to save resources to focus on only production matters stuff. So we can help you to auto discovery all your assets, so you will not missing any incident. Nowadays we have some temporary server, we have DevOps, or CI/CD, Kubernetes, or containers. Of course, those temp server usually didn't host too much data, but at the end of the day, there should be some that you make care of. So you can have rules that we can help you to back it up, or also the temporary storage that may sometimes useful. Then you can have an auto discovery to cover those blind spots. Because at the end of the day, we are thinking about how fast we can restore and how fast we can rebuild all those server and containers. So it may not be critical data, but if highly related to your response time, that become important, right? Also, we also can help you to find out something abnormal. Because from a backup software point of view, sometimes you say, okay, there's a data, I back it up, store it, and then restore when I need it. Yes, it is the main task of the backup solutions, but nowadays we need to do something further because we would like to ensure that we didn't back up something we shouldn't back. Not just malware, but also those encrypted or tamped data, because that will ruin your integrity of your data and make your restoration much, much more difficult. So during the data, we will detect the change rate. We have some analysis to alert you, and we will stop the backup if we find the percentage is over some threshold, and very likely that the data is not healthy, more very likely to be tamped or the ransom encrypted. Then we will send you alert. So then we will not back up those encrypted or destroyed files to ensure you won't blindly back up the things that you shouldn't be, and over the time you didn't alert it, and at the end of the day you pass the retention period and you lose all the good copy. So we will help you to protect you from those slow and low attack. It's somehow is also a more on happens on network, but somewhere really do a portion of data, and over time then you find it become bigger and bigger, and then you lost all your backup because the retention period of time issue, then you have nothing to restore. So that's why we add in this kind of detection to make sure you are backing things that you want to back, and which is useful when you want to restore, not just running a schedule and do things claim to be good but isn't. And also we can integrate SIEM and the like MDR. So yeah, so it can help you to detect and find out any things that abnormal before you find it's too late. So when there is a impact, like you find there is ransomware or Storware alert you there's a attack or there's a ransomware, the data change is too much. First of all, of course, you have to isolate the segment, which is yeah, backup software didn't help you to do that, but you should have something like an ESET or any other endpoint solution. You can isolate your device. So then you can stop the lateral movement, stop the spread of the ransomware attack or other attacks. Then you should start to mitigate the attacks, and then next you can have to start to verify your backup, find a clean one, and try to restore. So that's what you should react. Because sometimes you cannot unplug the network cable because they're using Wi-Fi, maybe. Okay, you see so many Facebook that someone cut all the physical line or fiber cable, and they're using Wi-Fi. So using software to isolate. Okay, of course sometimes you unplug the network, it works, but that didn't apply all the time. Usually, the standard procedure should be isolate the device that affected, reset the credential or disable the accounts that being affected, restart those system or reboot those system to stop the behavior, so then you can make sure it won't spread further, and then you can do the and I assume that you have some log collection, and you can start to study those events and find out the further root cause analysis, and at the same time you find out the restoration. When it's the good copy, then you may need to do some restoration from the backup. So that's the things that you should do. And then uh, there will be a multi-tier orchestration that you can do, or you have I would say you should create a clean room, require free all those environment, make sure things is working, then you can release and make it works to cut over to the good protection. Of course, this is should be something larger scale of restoration in case there's a big impact to your system. So isolate, restore, create a clean room, restore. If you have orchestration tools that can deploy, you use that to deploy, and then minimize the downtime, and then cut over and straight it back production. So with Storware, you can actually, we have a scheduled restore, which usually being used on the DR side. So it always a clean room in the DR side, but I have to warn you guys that the outside also can be compromised. And because it is the outside, is less attention to that. So monitoring, detection, SIM or MDR, whatever, more or less should cover all the outside. Because if your the outside is infected, and then it let you move and go to production, you have no the outside to use, right? So it do happens, yeah, in some of our previous case that we help customers. So they will find somewhere there. So anyway, so if you have Storware, we have a scheduled restoration. You can use it as a drill, do it every quarter, or you can make it as an active DR site. You can schedule restored every night. So you have a clean and available DR with almost up-to-date data every night. So that will be much rapid, easier, uh, uh, almost fully automate DR site available. Okay. So there's a other quick fix that are available from Storware. In case you are not that large scale of impact, maybe you just lost a few file, you just want to mount up the drive and then we copy and paste those file, or you have you need some of your critical server, you want it up and running really fast. You can do instant mount and install instant live migrate tools that are available from Storware. So you can mount up the storage and find a file and then copy and paste. And also you can directly restore to the hypervisor as an image that it can start to run as a server and mount as server. It can start in the hypervisor. So you will have an instant boot up from the backup, not fully restore, but then you have time to restore those others to a production server later on, but you can have a temporary live mount drive or temporary up hypervisor from the backup. So you can have those data, then you have the data and the archive things you can restore later on if there's other storage. So it will be instantly available on this restoration process. Of course, those mounting is indirect with some drive mounting technology, so the performance is not good as the fully restored backup data, but it can save lots of time and save some of the people's lives. So that's one of the strategy that we can adopt. You can instantly mount up a server or mount up a network drive that you can ready to use. So besides that, we always suggest we have drills for backup and restore, because uh, when you need to restore, you may, if you never have a drill, you may find there's lots of the technical issues, like the performance of the network, and the availability of the drive, or the driver issue, or the compatibility issue of the OS and the underlying hardware, whatever. So uh, we should always have drills, okay? But as long as we are doing image backup like Storware, we can automate the process. As I said, we have a schedule restore, so you can put the schedule restore as part of the drill, and you can restore it to an ISO network, to a DR site, to wherever you want. Then you can uh, put it up, check the process, the surface, and the data, is that good enough? Then you finish a drill. So that can be almost fully automated. And wherever there is a failure during those automate restorations, it do indicate you may have the same failure when there's a real restoration you need to do. So having drill is very important, not just write a documents, put it in a drawer, and over the year it will be lost. And the people who, the operators may not have experience to the software, so that can take much more time, much more extra time they do the drill. So it's, but with the scheduled, uh at least you see it every, I don't know, every month or every quarter. As long as they check, they know where it is and which software they're using to the auto restoration. Okay. And also after restoration or backup, we support post restoration scripts that help you to verify those necessary services, or maybe you need to do some I don't know, maybe some surface mounting or surface restart, or even do patching or whatever, or run some SQL to update the database. Just very simple. You need to, maybe your server need to change the IP address after restoration, and some of the service you need to change IP address. You can put it in the post restoration scripts that we will help you to run after the restoration. Then you need not to try and error and debug and find out what's going on, to ensure the restoration is, and the post restoration configuration is smooth and complete. Okay. And we have a comprehensive logging for all your backup and restoration process. Even you mount a file, you copy a file from the mount drive, you change the schedule, you update the destination, whatever, everything. We have audit log, so we can ensure that the log is not tampered with, our root protections and encrypted. So yeah, then we ensure the integrity and the completeness of your logs that about all your restoration and behaviors and backup behaviors. So this is a part of the compliance, right? Okay, so besides all those function and features, immutable backup, air gap protections, uh, schedule restoration, uh, orchestration, or pros backup scripting, all this. There's a few more reasons you should choose Storware to protect your data. So we have borders platform support. So we support, of course, VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix, scale computing, and Cosmos, KVM, and XCPNG, yeah, many others open source, open source or commercial hypervisor platform. So which is one of the, I think the best one that can cover most of those hypervisor. If you ever think about, okay, I need to migrate from some commercial or yeah, dominant market leaders because of the license too expensive, how about switch to some open source? Some may be okay, but still have a problem like how can I back up, right? So Storware support most of them. So you can test it out and then make sure that your hypervisor is working as well as the backup and restore. As I said, we can do it like auto restore, so you can have a DR site even or remotely or on a different site offline, wherever it will works. And we have a very simple and easy to use interface. I will try to walk through a console very quickly to you guys later on, and we have a very cost effective resilience and licensing because we are flexible, very flexible in license. We can license by data volume, we can license by number of endpoints being backup or number of physical server. Yeah, in case you're running hypervisor on your site. So we are cost effective, easy to use, support many others platform. So before I go for demo, let's have a very quick summary. First of all, check your backup immutability because um, there's a very common mistake SME or some company will do. They buy enough to do the backup, good, which is cost effective, which is yeah, easy to use, but they make the backup share visible or even writable to everyone. Well, this is very easy to use, but it's also very easy to be encrypted by ransomware. So make sure you at least you have separate credential, which only used for backup, no other users to use it. And if you use object storage or cloud storage, turn on the immutable settings. Some like you can lock up the file for 30 days or 19 days, then it will be logically undeletable or not changeable from anyways. Yeah, of course, if you've got the admin, then you can change the settings, but as long as turned on, it will be locked. And map your data blind spots. Make sure your SaaS data is being backed up, make sure your payload is being backed up, and important data is being discovered and backed up. And third is what I do. So you need not to really physically delete your data, but you can just assume some of the data is being destroyed. Then you try to run a restoration with your existing backup solutions. Then you will find out millions of problems like the performance. As I said, performance, I don't know how to restore, and compatibility, performance issue, or when is the good backup, all solve those problems. Yeah, you can with a Geo. Then you may find that you may see other solutions. Please consider Storware. Okay, so next I will do a very quick walkthrough to for the Storware console to let you see what it is. Let me switch the demo. Yeah, let me switch the share screen. Let me see. It should be. Wait, I open a new one. Okay, let me share the screen again. Okay, so we have Storware here. This is a newly set up site, so we don't have all the things correctly configured. So those are failure. But anyway, I will fix because I switched the storage server. Anyway, I explain later. So just quickly walk through the console. So this is a Storware backup server. We have multi-tier configuration. So we have the main backup server and we have the backup nodes. Okay, the backup nodes you can install on the backup server all in one in case you are a smaller site. But if you have a bigger site or you have a multi-location that you need to have a better performance because you shouldn't cross the network to do backup, right? So you can have a multiple backup nodes to handle those data locally. Then you can install multiple data nodes. So you can have data nodes. So now we have only one. And what you see is the dashboard. There you have the protection, successful way, activities, and how many space you have on the storage station space, backup destination, and the license. So if you want to backup some VM, you just go to the providers. You can click create. Then you choose which provider you want, like the cloud AWS, Azure Cloud, Sense Server, Google Cloud, Kubernetes, Hyper-V, Azure Local, Nutanix, OpenStack, Open New Bala. I don't know what it is. Okay, Red Hat and Oracle Linux because it's the same protocol. Postmas, Red Hat OpenShift, Scale Computing, blah blah blah. VMware, of course. Yeah. Anyway, so they're all support. Okay, then you choose. For example, you go for VMware, ESXi, then you choose the host name, username, password. You choose a cert, then you can start to sync the uh, instance. Then if you successfully connect and sync, then you will see the uh, number of hosts and all those all those hypervisor you can create different configurations. So we can go to the node configurations. Then this is the configuration. So where is the storage you put? What's the temp data you put? And how many we try and the backup destination. Yeah, all you can create here. Okay. And then you have the backup policy for the hypervisor. So this is the policy I create. So you want to schedule backup end, and you can auto remove those non-persistent VM environments, or you can clean up the data, and also you can do auto assign. So you can auto assign and then can you create rules. For example, you can tag those create using tag. So for those VM with this tag, we will put on the backup list. If don't, it won't. Or exclude that, or the regular expression. So you can detect by the host name. So in even though all VM on your supervisor, those start with text or testing or end with testing, we will exclude. Otherwise, we will include the auto backup. So you're not missing any newly create VM, uh, but you won't back up something you didn't. Of course, you have to have some administration standard on the naming convention or the tagging convention or your hypervisors. And then you can choose apply to which hypervisor, and then some of those uh, threshold you can set. Okay, so this is the backup. So we support hypervisor server, and then we have snapshot policies on that and recovery plans. So it will auto recovery. You can also schedule it. Okay. Now besides VM, we can back up storage. Create one. So let's see what we support. So those CP, RPD, new text file, new text volume groups we support. Those are storage server, which is a digital storage for like those hypervisors, so you can directly back up those storage. And of course, you can just support like backup the cloud, M365, or you want to back up some Windows or Linux local file with the agent installed, or you want to back up the database. Like, let me create one. And the database, I don't know, DB2. You can back Git and some the Storware internal database, Kubernetes, MySQL, 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 Oracle, and other like PostgreSQL and others. So all those database we can support. You just keep in some usually with backup for SSH. Then you give the credential that you can connect and back up those database. Okay. Then for destination, we support, of course, file system. So no matter it's a SMB file, NFS, or local file system, you can mount to the storage server. Then you can back up as a local file system, or you can support object storage. So I create a mini IO that's SV compatible object storage. So you can just create one like SV or SV compatible in Possible Cloud, Google Cloud Storage, Azure Blob Storage, OpenShift, OpenStack Shift, all those object storage. You can put it there, and we still support tips. So if you got a tip drive that, of course, the driver has to be ready, then we can back up to the tapes. And one more interesting thing is that we support enterprise backup software to integrate with us. So the Dell EMC, both server and IBM Storage Protect, Veritas, Open Backup, Open Text Data Protector. So we can integrate with the data storage or the backup solutions. Then we can extend the capability, because many of them cannot back up some of those open source or some of the object storage that we support. So we can integrate them as a source of data and write to their data storage to smooth the process. And you can have an integrated backup management. And one more thing, that is the mount drive, I think. Is the, yes, mount backup. So in case you have some image you want to restore right away, or mount up and copy a few files, you just create a image mount here, because I don't have a backup complete yet, so I cannot show you that here. But anyway, it is you can do it here, is instantly available. Yeah, and also you can do it on the hypervisor to mount up those backup image as a server to put it up. Okay, so it's a very quick walkthrough. Actually, you can download a free edition from Storware that you will have. I think also is you have a some instant, yeah, with a limited instant that you can try on those that backup. So you can start with the free license, then you can contact us if you need support or buy a license. So let's try on some of the hypervisor or your database that you need to back up, which is not available from other solutions. Or you want to try on those, I forgot to show you the immutable backup setting. Let me check. It should be is on the immutable. Let me check. It should be on the object storage settings. So yeah, it should be here. Dun, dun. This is the object storage. Where is it? Oh, it should be here. There should be a immutable settings there. Anyway, I cannot find it right now. Maybe here. Yes, here. So we can have the object lock. Sorry about that. I have a bit confused on it. So you can lock the object like for 2 days. Of course, usually by default is 30 days. Mean to put it smaller so we can rotate faster. And you can have lock the data for like 30 days. Then the file on the object store will be being locked and not able to delete or overwrite before the lock update. Yeah, so you can have a additional layer of protection of your data. So yeah, and then others is quite straightforward, like the retention of full backup, incremental backup, and number of full backup version to keep, number of incremental backup to keep. Yeah, so of course you can unlimit, but you have to use a cloud to ensure you have enough storage to keep an infinity. But anyway, you just pay, yeah. And of course, you can have create multiple schedules, and you can have a second destination, yeah, to have a second copy to like on the cloud or other cloud. It's really up to you. Okay, so this is a very quick walkthrough on the Storware. So let me stop the share. Get back to the slides. So we back go to the last slide. So if you have any questions, please type in the chat or the question box. I will answer you right away, or you can send me emails or contact ourselves. And here you have a guidelines from Storware, which is a blog. It's about data protection against ransomware. So it's about a strategy how we configure and manage a backup that can ensure we have somehow we have a good backup for restoration after hit by ransomware, and some tips that you should do. Some of them I already go through with you guys. Yeah, so that's all for today's content. In short, first of all, make sure your backup have some backup destination have some immutabilities, so it's able to protect your backup being overwritten by ransomware or hackers or deleted by hackers. And make sure you do cover, you should cover for some of them, like maybe an object storage in the cloud, maybe some SaaS data, maybe some in the VM. Make sure you have the backup, and do try one a drill to restore what you are currently being backing up. Because we do backup is for restoration when we need it. It's not just doing the backup itself. So if you cannot restore, it's just waste of time to doing a repeating task. Seems like a backup. Okay, so please take a look on this blog if you have time. If you're interested to how to better protect you against the ransomware. Again, thank you guys to join today's webinar. I'm Kenneth. Thank you. Bye-bye.